So we believe that learning from the practitioner is so much powerful because they tend to give you their experiences, their challenges, and you get to learn more practical, in a more practical manner, and then that's good for everyone. So for this year, we will be having different themes. One of the themes is data, as you see, but we also be having finance theme. We have been having also project theme. So there will be different theme, and we'll be introducing them in different times. But we are starting with data theme, and this is our introduction. So before I go so far, I'd just like to reintroduce myself again. My name is Riziki Assey. I'm a data science consultant. I will speak about that in a bit, what it means. And however, I work here in Tanzania, so I'm a business developer at M-Pesa, Vodacom Tanzania. I am also a trainer. I do train in business development and data science. And there is my LinkedIn. So today I'm joined with my colleague from Ghana, all the way from Ghana. Let me give him a chance to speak and introduce himself. Please welcome Clement Danso. Hi, Clement. Can you hear us? Athumani, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing. I think there is a problem, maybe mic problem with Danso.
Yeah, so no worries. Maybe he's just joining in. Let me give him a few seconds, and then he'll be introducing himself. So yes, so Clement, if you're back, it is your time to introduce yourself. If you can hear me, just unmute your mic and go on and introduce yourself and say hi to the audience. Okay, I think we will have him introduce himself when he's ready to introduce himself. Clement, can you hear us? Are you still having difficulties? I can see you, but I cannot hear you.
Hello, Riziki, can you hear me?
Yes, great. I can hear you now. We can hear you. Please go on and introduce yourself. Clement? I still struggling with the network, perhaps. You may try to check your network, and maybe refresh. So I think he has dropped. So I will have I'll have him reintroduce himself a little bit later. But we have been working with Clement last year. He did a talk or a training on Open Data Kit, which is a tool for data management, data collection and data management. So again, today we are having also Clement Danso from Ghana also joining us in this training. He is a data specialist and currently he's working with Data Brew from Canada. And he also trains on different data management tools like ODK. So he's a mobile data collection and data analysts or data specialists in an easy way to put it. So Clement, if you have, if you'll be able to fix it, just come back and say hi to the audience. That would be great.
Right, hi,
So I'll move on to the content of today. So what we'll be discussing today. And guys, as I said today, it's not more of a training, it's more of informative. However, most of you might find it as a training in a way. So also it will be, this session will be engaging and interactive. So we'll also want to hear from you as we go through the training. Great. So we'll be touching on data collection, data cleaning and data analysis, data visualization, reporting, and data storytelling. So this is what we want to be to touch base today. And the way that we'll be explaining this as I always like to explain things using the golden cycle. So the golden cycle is an easiest way you can explain anything. So usually when you want to explain anything, we want to start with why. Why are we here today? Why are we talking about data 360? Why are we talking about data? Why is it so important, right? And then if you have the purpose, if you know why you want to do something, or why do you want to build a certain project, when you have the why, then you can tell the how, which is the process, and then the outcome. So over the year, what we'll be teaching more is the how, the process. But today we want to introduce you with the big why. Like, why is data so important after all? Why do we do these sessions? And in the world of today, data, I'm sure most of you, almost everyone, in one way or another, you come in contact with something around data, needing data, want to analyze data, want to collect data. So it's so important we understand why are we talking about data, and then later on we'll understand the process and how now you build your data models, or how do you use data, how do you prepare data and different things, and then see what's the outcome. So obviously, as I say, the big question is why data, right? So when you talk about data, generally data, it's something, we say data, these are raw facts and figures, right? Without this, it means that you have a lot of challenges in visibility. You know, whatever you're doing, if you have a product in the market and you don't have, or you don't keep its records, you don't know how much you've sold. I mean, in Swahili, there is a saying which says, biashara bila daftari huisha bila habari, right? Which means, almost translates to, if you are not keeping your records, obviously your business will just go away. So that means that data is very important, because without data, there will be a lot of challenges, especially in visibilities, because data are your eyes, data are your ears, right? And then there'll be a challenge in even making effective decision making, because you don't know why your sales are going down. You don't know why a product is not performing. You don't know why your campaign is not performing, because and so you don't know what step to take. So at the end of the day, you will be just doing guessworks and approaches. So you lose time, but also you lose money. For instance, if you don't know your audience, if you run a campaign, it means you'll try to target everyone, and it will be very expensive and a wastage of time, right? But if you have your data, that means you have visibility, you can identify a problem, you can see where you're doing well, where you're not doing well, right? Then you can make informed decisions and you can save money and time. So this is and there is a long list of why data is so important, but these are just, I think, my my top 3 which came out. So I think you can also type on the comments on the chat box, why do you think we need data? Why is data so important in this 21st century, the world of today? Let me know on the chat box, and let's see. So so as I explained, I say I'll be using this cycle, the golden cycle. So now we have an idea of the why. So and you know why. Yeah, so Athumani, can help me see if someone has unmuted their mic. Try to mute them. Thank you. So we have seen the why. Now, how is the process, right? So how do you get to all that? So ideally, you need to start collecting data. And when you say collecting data, I know maybe the picture which comes in your head is people are going to the field, right? But there are different ways of collecting data. When you do sales and you record your sales, your daily sales, you are collecting data. When you like a post on Instagram, Instagram is collecting data, right? When you search something on Google, Google is collecting that data. So the first process is always data collection, and there are various ways on how you can collect data. But the second way, the second stage is then data cleaning. So whatever data you have to clean it. Sometimes there can be errors. For instance, if you are doing sales, if you're, for instance, if you're a barber shop and then you are recording, maybe you're charging 5,000, and then one of the data set for that day it's written 1 million. So obviously you'll see an outlier, maybe this was a typing error. So you always have to go back and clean your data to make sure that it's consistent and it doesn't have any errors or outliers, unless those outliers are really outliers that they happen to be there for some reasons. And when I say outlier, it's just a data which is different from the rest of the data that you have. For instance, as I explained earlier, you have a list of data which is 5,000, 10,000, 5,000, 10,000, and then you have 1 million. So that becomes automatically an outlier. It's differ from the entire population that you have. So after you've cleaned your data, the next stage is always to make sure that you do your now to start do the analysis. And in here I've written number 3, I've written data analytics, so that and this term, it means both doing descriptive analysis, doing predictive analysis, doing prescriptive analysis. So it looks what is in the past, what is in the future. So when you usually in an industry, when you say data analysis, most of the time we use to mean trying to do the normal descriptive analysis, which is actually explaining why things they've happened the way they've happened. And mostly, if you've heard of a term, business intelligence, this is what they're trying to do, trying to explain why sales went up, why sales went down, why are we having a shoot maybe in prices, right? So with data, when you say data analysis or descriptive analysis, we are trying to describe what has already happened. And then when you are doing predictive, now we are saying, okay, we have this data which shows us, which maybe we have a data of 1 year or 5 years, 10 years. So we can use this data to predict our numbers in the next year. So for instance, if you have a company, you always know December your numbers are shooting, maybe because in December people are buying. So if you have a gift shop, for instance, you know December number are shooting because December people come in your gift shop to buy more, right? So the likes of companies like Amazon's, they have those data. They know which month sales are up. They know up to which not just which month, which week of which month, which day, which hour. So being able to, if you already have past data, then you can use different models to do predictive analysis. And then also when you know what will happen, then you can do prescriptive. So that is recommending what should be done, right? And then obviously you need to be able to present this data on a visualization, right? And then you need to be able to, so that people can get it quickly. So that is doing data visualization. But also you need to be able to communicate, to report what you have gathered from your analysis, from all your dashboards, right? So we talk about visual reports, we talk about PPTs, we talk about data storytelling, and we will be uncover that a little bit in the few minutes. Also, after the last part you say, I say repeat, because then you keep on go back to data collection, collect your data, and the cycle goes that way, right? So some of the skills that that you may need while you're doing that, while you're dealing with data, or if you're wondering, just I said I will explain what data science is and where it falls. So right, in today's world, you have people with mathematics and statistics knowledge, that is in the yellow sphere, and then you have people who have programming skills, that is in the blue cycle, right? And then you have people who have general domain knowledge or industry knowledge, say finance, say agriculture. So if you have mathematics and statistics, which is the yellow, and then you combine with domain knowledge, you become traditional researcher. That means, for instance, you know the agriculture industry, and you know statistics, you know mathematics, you know data models, different data models. Then you become a traditional researcher, because you can do normal regressions, analysis, explaining the relationship between different variables, explaining why this is happening, that is not happening. Do this research, and most of the people who have done statistics or economics fall in this category, traditional research. Then if you have mathematics and statistics, right, you're in the yellow sphere, and also you have the programming skills, then you fall under machine learning, because you're very good at math, you're very good at statistics, you understand the models, but also you can do programming, you can build it, then you can automate these models. You become then a machine learning specialist, right? And also another opportunity is in programming and domain and industry knowledge. So if you understand very well financial industry, maybe, or agriculture industry, I was saying, or health industry, so you can be a software developer. You can create softwares that bring solutions. For instance, softwares that give farmers information about prices, crops, right? So those, you become a software developer. But then if you are able to gather both three, or all of the three, so mathematics and statistics, combined with programming skills, combined with the industry knowledge or the domain knowledge, then you'll be falling on the data science sphere, which is at the middle. So as a data scientist or as a data science consultant or as a data enthusiast, whatever you may want to refer it as, you will need all of 3 skills. And most of the time, mathematics and statistics is very important, because then even if you have the programming skills, you have the domain skills, if you cannot make an inference, which means is, okay, you have analyzed and then tell us the meaning. What does it mean? What does this regression means? What does this, what does this multicollinearity means? There are a lot of terms there. But you need to be able to really understand what it means, after understanding what it means, but also communicate. So I think the last part is to more of tell you, so the outcome of this is that you are able to, as I said, explain why things they have happened the way they've happened. That is using past data. You can do your visuals, but also you can predict future trends. You can, that is as I was talking about, predictive analysis, but also prescriptive. Now you are able to say, okay, I think because of this, then do this. So you're providing data-informed recommendations or decisions, and that makes the analytics part, because it combines past and future. So that is data science or data analytics. I'll pause there. Let me hear from you guys. Also, let me, in that moment, also let me welcome Danso to join in, and let him also take us through a bit, some few concepts. So let me hear from you guys. Quick questions from the audience. You may you may also unmute your mic if you want to ask a question in the next 3 minutes, and then we'll have Danso, and then you may have Danso will be coming in. So let me also check on the chat box if there are any questions.
Yes, we have some questions. You may proceed.
How do we design such kind of magic PPTs? Okay. Another one is, do I have to be an expert in each field? Okay, good one. Is there an automatic data collection? Mass statistics programming. Okay. Have I missed a question? Okay, right. So with PPTs, we'll get there. It's one of the things that I'll be talking about a bit later. And do I have to be an expert in each field? No, you don't have to be an expert in each field, but you need to be able to know some of the basic concepts for you to do something basic actually in this field. And look, for instance, some of us may be coming from mathematics and statistics. Some of us may be coming from programming skills. So if you have already a background in programming skills, then you can go on and learn some mathematics and statistics. And there are and there's a lot of resources out there that can really guide you. And this is part of these trainings are part of those resources, right? And even if you have mathematics and statistics, also it's a good place to start. You can add programming skills. And guess what? In programming skills, mostly if you're going to be doing anything around data science, it's mostly you need SQL and Python. So SQL for extracting data and Python for building data models. So yeah, you can start from anywhere. However, you really need some basic concept of statistics, because sometimes you need to be able to explain a relationship between two variables. And there you need to know some of those concepts in statistics and understand, okay, the assumptions and what it means, the end result. Because for instance, if you know how to use SPSS, which is one, don't worry, which is one of the statistical packages. Even if you know how to drag and drop, put this data there, put that data here, you also need to be able to interpret. So the statistics part really is going to help you understand how to interpret different models that are out there. I think I still have 2 more questions. Right, good question. What is the difference between data analysis and data analytics? So sometimes the industry use them interchangeably, but some people in the industry observe them as different concepts. So with data analysis, it would mean when you're dealing with just past data and all you're doing is trying to explain the past, explaining why things have happened the way they've happened, which is more of what you do in business. The first thing you do in business intelligence, you want to first explain. If you are looking at your trends, you're looking at your data, you're trying to see why there was a rise in the revenue, why there was a rise in sales, maybe why there was a drop in sales in June, but there's a rise in sales in July. What happened, right? So that analysis, going through your data and really trying to explain why things have happened the way they've happened, that we'll call it data analysis. Now, the minute you start doing predictive analysis, putting some models that they can help you to do prediction, those are prediction models, putting some models that they can help you predict your numbers in the future, because you have a lot of past data and good predictive models, then you are coming into data analytics. So when you say data analytics, it will mean everything, explaining whether you're explaining what has happened in the past, and whether you want to explain what might happen in the future. So data analytics takes both, while data analysis in the industry would mean just something explaining things that they have happened in the past, and not necessarily dealing with predictions. So that was it. And then let me see, we have another question. Right, so what skills are required to specialize in data analytics and not data science? So just like that, I think this will be a similar question, like, do you need to know all? So you don't need to know all at start, right? You just need to know the basics. As I say, so for instance, with data analytics, you will need the basic of, let me go back to this sphere, right? Can you see my screen? Right. So with data analytics, because you want to do some predictive model, even Excel, you can put data in it, and you can put, even in Excel, you can do predictive models, right? So you don't always need maybe super predictive models like using Python and what to do data analytics. So you can use powerful tools like Excel, and I say I use powerful because actually Excel is a very, very powerful tool. So just in Excel, you can even do predictive models. But also you can use other simple softwares like the likes of SPSS, ARA. These are learnable platforms that you can use if you don't want to go into Python, because Python is mainly for different data models. but also you need to be very good at communicating. So that means you need to be able to do good visualization. So you need to learn things like Power BI, which are platforms for visualization. I'll be talking about them in the few minutes. So allow me to introduce Danso. Danso, just come in. Let me know if you are ready now. If you can speak, you can unmute your mic. And first of all, say hi to the audience. Danso, are you able to join? Right. So as we are waiting for Danso, I can allow for quickly anyone who wants to add one more question. Otherwise, let's give Danso a few minutes. I think he'll be joining. Right, and also something that I wanted to talk about is, for instance, I'm from a background of mathematics and statistics, and I started learning SQL and Python so that I can get some of the blue here, because if you are dealing with a huge number of data sets, sometimes you cannot operate them very well in Excel, because Excel has a limit, I think, of 1 million rows. So if you have over 1 million rows, then you can no longer, work with Excel in a simple way. Of course, there are different ways to work with Excel with that big amount of data. Like there are Power Queries and different tools, but when you really have a big data set, you have a database of billions of data sets, right? You need a tool like SQL, because then it comes so powerful in help you extract any type of data that you need. So that's why I came in and build my skills here at the blue area, which is programming skills. So it's and SQL is extremely easy language, easy language, few words, readable words. And Python as well is, even if you go and check, one of the simple languages you can learn is Python. And SQL is not even more for, it's not even more of a programming language. It's just simple scripts. Danso, if you're in, just say hi. Just unmute your mic and let me know if you can unmute your mic. And
hello Riziki.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so I think if you would allow me to share my screen, I can go on.
Great, thank you.
All right. All right. Right. So, hi everybody. I'm very sorry for the interruption I had. I was having problems with internet connectivity, and I'm sure Riziki has already introduced me. Anyway, I'll just do a quick one. I'm Clement Danso, and some of you have already got to know me from my previous trainings and then other trainings from MORLEARN as well. I just deal with data, and then most importantly today I'll be talking about ODK and then data collection in whole. So I'm sure Riziki has talked a lot about data. So I'm going on with data collection. All right, I believe you can all see my screen. Okay, so I saw a question in the chat. Someone was asking, is there a way we can automate data collection? Yeah, that's just possible. And that is what mobile data collection tends to achieve. Now, when we say mobile data collection, it's just a method or a way of compiling qualitative and quantitative information with the help of a mobile device. So the mobile device could be your mobile phone, or it could be a tablet. So when we say you are collecting data with a mobile device, the data could be of qualitative nature or quantitative nature. If we have some M&E guys here, or people with statistics background, you would understand what we mean by qualitative and then quantitative data. But I mean, we'll get to know all of this in just a bit of time. So let's be patient. All right, so now when we talk about mobile data collection, it involves using digitized forms to collect data. Now, if you've been in the university, probably you did a final year project where you were supposed to collect data on a subject and then do some analysis of the data. And then maybe you compile a document of that. And that's what we call research. Research is primarily about collecting field data and then coming back to sit down and then perform analysis on the data you've collected. Now, the traditional way of collecting data is the paper form of collecting data. That's printing questionnaires with a lot of questions on them, and now you give the questionnaires to data collectors. They go to the field, find the respondents, and then interview them. Now, where needed, they take where they're supposed to write. They write on the paper form, and then they bring it back. Now you need a data entry person who is going to sit down, take each of the questionnaires that have been filled, enter it one by one into an analytical software like SPSS or Excel. Then the data analyst can take that data and now analyze. That used to be a very cumbersome means of doing research, because the process of carrying along a lot of papers to do interview it's sometimes worrisome, and it comes with a lot of errors, because you need to train your data collectors so well to be able to do that. And data collectors, you can't trust them so much when they're in the field. For instance, let's say we have 2 questions on the questionnaire. The first question is, are you 18 years old? That's the first question. And the next question says, if you are 18 years old, or if you are more than 18, then that's fine. So it means that the respondent will only answer the second question if he is 18 or more. That's what it means. Now, if you give this questionnaire to a data collector to do data collection for you, it's possible, even if respondent is less than 18 years, the data collector will proceed to answer question 2, which is not supposed to be so. And this affects data quality. And so using digitized forms of data collection helps control all of this. And that is why we are advocating strongly that we use digitized data collection, because it controls errors that data collectors could have made on the field. Aside that, we are going to talk about some more advantages of mobile data collection. It is scalable. It is scalable. What we mean by scalable is you can expand the research project to a very large group as it is recommended. For instance, if you have to interview about 10,000 respondents, 50,000 respondents, you can imagine if you have to print questionnaires out for all of these respondents, that means you need about 50,000 questionnaires And who is going to carry these along? I mean, data collectors will have to have these questionnaires in their bags, move around, ask respondents, take. I mean, it's going to be something. So we'll say using paper forms are not scalable. You can't use it for a very large research project, yeah, where you have to interview a lot of people. You can't be carrying out questionnaire paper forms, around. I mean, that's not practical, yeah. And one advantage of mobile data collection is that changes can easily be rolled out. When we say changes can easily be rolled out, this is what we mean. Now, in the picture we have here, there's one guy who we'll call a data collector here. You can see he's interviewing somebody and he's having his cell phone or mobile device in his hands. So based on the response the respondent gives, he just takes, or let's say taps something on the mobile device, and that's all. He's filling the questionnaire. Now, let's assume you have a number of these data collectors already rolled out to collect data on the field. Now, we have the research team back in the office, and they realize that there's a certain question or a particular question that was not framed well. And at the point where data collectors are already in the field, it seems it's too late for you to go back to say, hey, can you all come back? There's one question that was not framed well. We need to correct all that. I mean, what happens to all the questionnaires you've already printed out for these data collectors? Do they go waste? So you see that it's very difficult to roll out changes when you're using paper forms. Paper forms is very, very difficult. But what happens if this is a mobile data collection where we are using digitized tools? Now, this is a very simple situation to handle. If a question was not well framed, I mean, the ODK programmer or the expert in mobile data collection could just change the form and then redeploy the form to the server. And what happens is that all these data collectors on the field will see the changes, and they may not even know that the question has been reframed. That's the truth about mobile data collection. So changes are easily rolled out without disrupting the process of data collection. And this is not so with paper forms. So that's it with mobile data collection. And also, it is possible to track geographical points where the data was collected. Now, you see this guy here. It's possible you can track his location to know if actually he was in the field to collect the data or he filled the digitized form at home.
Hi, Clement. I think he must have an internet issue.
Yeah, we lost his connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. So we are still talking about some of the advantages of mobile data collection. We've talked about being able to track data collectors wherever they are on the field. I also talk about, timestamp that is being appended to each record of data collected. I mean, for every data you collect on the field, the system automatically appends a timestamp that tells you the time and date exactly that data was collected. And it's also possible to carry out some form of analysis while the data collection also goes on. And that's what we call the real-time data analysis. We'll show more of that. Don't worry if any of these concepts are seeming blurry now. All right, so this is a structure, a simple diagram to help you understand all about mobile data collection. This is just something to help you understand that. It just describes the workflow that data goes through. Okay, so this is what we call the server. I believe you can now see this. This is what we call the server. And then we have XLS forms getting into the server. Now, what are these XLS forms? XLS forms are the digitized forms of paper tools that are used to collect data. So now let's assume I am an ODK programmer. Someone contracts me and says, hey, I'm conducting a research. This is my questionnaire. This is the paper form. I want you to digitize this paper form for me. The tool I use most of the time is XLS forms, and that is the recommended. You can use XLS form to code paper questionnaires into digitized forms. So I just take the paper form given to me by the researcher and then sit down to code all the questions on the paper form with all the logics, the control flows and all that in XLS forms. So, I mean, this is just a file format. XLS is a file format, just like you can save your Excel file in XLS format, or you can save a Microsoft Word document in a .docs file format. I mean, this is just a file format for the digitized tool. So when someone gives you a paper form, after coding it in XLS, this is what you have. You have XLS forms. Now, the server you see here is what we call the central server, because it houses the XLS forms. So after the programmer codes the digitized form, he just has to push it to the central server. So this form, XLS form, is going to sit in the server here. Now this server is also sitting in the cloud. What I mean is that it's not on your computer. It's not on your computer. Now, let me just explain the difference between a server computer and then a client computer. Now, I believe some of you are joining this Zoom with your computers or your laptops. Others are also joining from their mobile devices. Now, we are all accessing Zoom from somewhere. And that's why we need the internet, because if Zoom was just sitting on our mobile devices, we would not need internet to connect to Zoom. But once we need internet to connect, it tells you that the Zoom server is actually sitting somewhere in the cloud. And so you need internet connectivity to be able to connect to the Zoom server before you could perform any Zoom meeting or whatever. And this same thing applies to our data server, or the central server, as we may call it here. This central server is also located in the cloud, not sitting on your computer. But these XLS forms we talked about here, the programmer may be coding this on his personal computer. Now, after coding this on your personal computer, you need to push it to the central server. In that case, your personal computer becomes the client computer, and the computer on the cloud, or in the cloud where you are trying to access, becomes the server computer. So we have the server and then the client relationship. Don't worry. I'll still go over this if it sounds a bit confusing. So we are trying to say that your personal computer is a local device. I mean, it does not have internet connection. It can still run. It's just sitting in your home. That's fine. And we also have another kind of computer that sits on the cloud, not in your home, not in a local place, but rather on the cloud. Now, because that computer sitting on the cloud is not in your home, if you have to connect your local device, I mean, your personal computer at home or your mobile phone, to that computer in the cloud, you will need internet connection to be able to do so. So that connection is what we call the server client connection. That means that the computer on the cloud is the server, and your mobile device or your laptop at home is the client that is trying to connect to the server in the cloud. Okay, so that, I think, explains the relationship between the two. And what I'm trying to say is that the programmer is coding the XLS forms on his personal computer. After that, if he has to send it to the central server in the cloud, he needs internet connection to push it to the central server. All right, if that is fine, now what happens next? Once the forms or the digitized form are now in the central server in the cloud, what happens? Now, if you can see my hovering mouse here, you will see I'm pointing to the mobile device, which has ODK on it. Now, what the ODK does is that it helps you to connect to this ODK central server here. This ODK application on your Android device will help you to connect to the ODK central server. Now, without the ODK Android application, you may not be able to connect your mobile device to the central server. And why do you need to connect to the central server at all? Now, this phone is for the data collector, the one who is going to the field to collect the data, not the one coding the questionnaire. He has done his work here by pushing the questionnaire he has coded into the central server. Now, it's time for someone to go to the field to collect the data. And that person has this Android device. So he downloads ODK client application from Play Store, which is going to help him to connect to the central server. Now, when he connects to the central server, you can see the digital form moves in the direction from the central server to the mobile device. So after connecting to the central server, the data collector will be able to pull the XLS forms which have been pushed to the server onto his mobile device. Now, when it's on his mobile device, he can access it and then carry on data collection. Now, after data collection is done, interviewing a respondent, and you are done with the whole process, what happens? The data is now just sitting on this same mobile device and has to be pushed back onto the central server. Now, the central server is just a central place where everything should go back to, because we think it is safe. So after collecting data, you don't keep the data on your mobile device. No, you have to push it back to the central server. And so you can see there's two-way directions here. We have one where the digital form, which is coded, is being pulled onto the mobile device. Now, after data collection, the data collector has to push the data or the response back to the server. So now in this case, you realize that the server houses two main things. That is the coded form or the digitized tool, and as well as the responses from the data collectors. So the central server is housing these two things, the digitized tool and also the responses from the data collectors. This is what happens. Now, down here, on your extreme right, you can see some analytics image here. And we have data moving from the server onto this analytics platform. So this analytics platform could be anything. It could be R, it could be STATA, it could be SPSS, it could be Power BI, Tableau. In fact, any data analytics platform you can think of. So once the data has been collected by the data collectors and has been pushed to the central server, the next thing is for you to pull the data from the central server onto the analytics platform for your data analysis. So that's how the flow goes. Now, if you're not a data analyst, well, you may not be concerned about the third stage I just talked about, that is pulling the data onto an analytics platform. That may not be of much concern to you. If you are just interested in learning how to digitize paper forms, then you will be the ODK programmer here who takes the paper from the researcher, sits down to code it into a digitized tool, and then pushes it into the server. That is all you do. That is all you do. And you may also have to be training data collectors on how to get the forms from the central server onto their mobile devices and how to push the responses from their mobile devices back to the central server. Primarily, if you're an ODK programmer, these are the things you will be much concerned about. Yeah. If you're not a data analyst, don't worry about data analysis. But if you also have background in statistics and you have to perform some analysis, then after data collection, you have to find a way to pull the data from the central server onto your analytics platform to conduct the data analysis. So that's that for ODK. I want to see if at this point people have questions about what I've just described. If something is not clear, I can.
Yes, we have some questions.
Okay.
Danso, do you have access to chat box?
No, I don't have access to the chat box.
Okay, the
You can
question
read them
from
out.
Ashinafi. Who owns the central server cloud?
All right, that's a nice question. Who owns the central server? Okay, which other
And to
question?
what extent is it secured?
Mhm.
Mhm.
I had a question about security.
Yes, who owns it? Who owns the central server? And to what extent the central server is secured?
All right. Is that all the questions I have?
So, and also another one says, should I be connected to the internet when I collect data? And another one is, this is clear so far. So just those two questions for now.
All right. All right, so I'd like to take the last question first. The person is asking, should I be connected to the internet? All right, you will need internet connections anytime you want to push data to the server or pull data from the server. Apart from these two instances, you will not need internet connection when using mobile data collection platforms like ODK. Now, after coding the XLS forms, the ODK programmer needs internet connection to push the digitized to the server. Similarly, the mobile data collector needs internet connection to pull the form from the server onto his mobile device. And after filling out the questionnaire, data sitting on the mobile device will only get to the central server if there's internet connection. So we need internet connections only in two instances, when we want to pull data from the server or push data onto the server. These two instances, that's all. All right, now we go on to the first question. That's who owns the central server? All right, so that's a very big question, and it's of concern to most NGOs and people carrying out projects in the field. They are mostly concerned about who owns the central server. Now, ODK is an open source project. And what open source means is that you'll be able to host your own server on your cloud space. You'll be able to configure ODK just as you think is suitable for your project. And so for most of data collection projects, you as the ODK programmer has the sole responsibility of deploying a fresh instance of ODK onto a server provider of your choice. It could be on Linode, it could be on AWS, it could be on DigitalOcean, but all of these could work. If you are very technical with deployments, you'll be able to do all of this. And then you will have sole ownership of the data server. Now, ODK also provides an option where you don't have a technical person to deploy ODK servers for you, and you would like to use a shared server from ODK. I mean, the ODK team themselves. Well, if that is okay for your team, then fine. You can just pay some fee. I think if you get on the ODK site, you know what they charge for that, for using their service. Yeah. All right, thank you. So if you don't want to go with a shared server or host your data with ODK team themselves, then you will have to deploy your own server. And that should be the responsibility of the ODK programmer to deploy a fresh instance. And they will have control. In fact, the team will have control of who has access to the server, the login, and the ODK comes with a full access management system as part where you can register project managers, you can register data collectors and give them limited what do we call it, views in the system. Yeah, so if you're a project manager, you'll be able to view projects, view data that is coming into the server, but you may not be able to submit XLS forms to the server. And I think there's one user, that's the super user, and then that super user will be able to do anything. He'll be able to delete data from the server. He'll be able to add data, edit data on the server, push XLS forms, and do everything on the server. And so when you are granting super user access to any user, you need to be very, very careful about that. A manager on the server necessarily may not need the super user rights. Yeah, Because if you give so much super user rights, you don't know who or what someone could be doing with the data. So maybe that could be limited to just a single person who has the right to add users, delete users, add privileges, remove privileges, yet another. Now, another question is, to what extent is the central secure? Central is developed with security in mind. Yeah, central is developed with security in mind. There, ODK team has that, and they take security so particularly, and that's why they have these access managements all in the system where not every user could just connect to the system. And then let me just show you one of my servers here, and you can see how it works. This. Okay, so if you are seeing my screen, this is a server, a live server, but like you can see, when you have the URL, that doesn't mean you can just get into the server. You need access privileges before you could log into the server. So all right, so at this point, I'd like to show you how the ODK Central server looks like. Now, this is the interface of the ODK Central server, where the programmer pushes the XLS forms to, and then data collectors also pull digitized tools from the server to their mobile devices. Now, you can create new projects on the server because the server can be used to handle, tens, every project at all your team has to manage. You can just put that here. So to create a new project, you have projects, and then there's a plus button here where you can just click on that and you name your project. Let's say we can call this, let's say if it's rapid assessment, you have a project like this, rapid assessment. All right, so now it says your new project has been successfully created. So we have a new project called rapid assessment. So that's it. So over here, I have a list of projects I've worked on in the past months. Yeah, and in fact, you can add more. And this is a count of the number of projects we have here. So presently I have 7 projects, and then I have 3 web users. Now the web users are people I've registered. I've given access to the server. So when I open here, I can see I have 1 web user here, 1 web user here, and another. So we have 3 web users. In fact, they are all for me personally. They're all for me because I'm the only one using the server at the moment. And I've made 2 of the users administrators. So the first user here has administrator right, could do anything on the server. The second one also has administrator right and could do anything on the server. But this particular user, Clement at codasystems.com, doesn't have administrator rights. So he has limited actions on the server. He can't do just anything unless I can make him an administrator, because the account I have logged in with is an administrator account. And so I can make someone administrator here where he will have a lot of access, and all that. So basically this is the interface of.
Quick question, Danso.
All right.
There's a question here. There's one more question about why not use the free Kobo server.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that. I think that I've answered with respect to who owns the central server, because most projects and NGOs are concerned about where their data is sitting, because some of the data they are collecting on the field are sensitive data, and some are personalized data, contains personalized information, names, telephone contacts of particular individuals. And so they are very, very concerned about where their data is sitting. And so when you are an ODK project, ODK programmer, and you want to suggest to a researcher or a research team that, look, I'm going to put your data on Kobo server for you where it's controlled by the Kobo team. They say no, they don't want that because they don't know who has access to their data, who is looking at that. And there are a lot of data security, constraints with some research projects because some of them have signed some form of agreements with respondents as to where they're going to keep the data, how safe they're going to keep it, and even how they're going to dispose the data off after analyzing the data. And so they have data security concerns, and that is why you may not be allowed to use the hosted Kobo server. Now, there's another option with Kobo. If you're already familiar with Kobo, there's another option. Apart from using their hosted server, where anybody just creates accounts and then submits data there, you can host your own Kobo server on your cloud computer. In that case, you have absolute control like you have for this ODK Central server. And all of these need some form of technical, expertise to be able to deploy a Kobo server where you own it and it's not being controlled by the Kobo team. If you're able to do that, fine, then you can go with Kobo. Yes, that's it. So most of the times for your personal projects, you can use Kobo for your personal projects that you think the data is not sensitive, doesn't contain personalized information and all that. You can use Kobo, you are free to do that. But we are talking about ODK programming here, where you are the ODK programmer, somebody or an NGO or a researcher contact you and say, hey, I want you to do this for me, do that for me. The person does not expect you to go and put his data on someone's server. No, that will mostly not be accepted. So if you are thinking of being a freelancer in ODK, being a technical person in ODK, you should possibly learn how to deploy Kobo servers yourself, learn how to deploy ODK Central servers yourself, because that's going to be a requirement, yeah, for sure. All right, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you, Clement.
All right, welcome. So in that case, I'll have to go back to my slides. All right, so I believe this architecture here is very clear now. All right, so now we'll talk about, after collecting data into the central server, data collectors have done a very big job, submitted thousands of data into the server. Now, data is just sitting in the server. How do you analyze the data in the server? Let me just show you this project that ended in December, which has about, let me see, it has about 1,000, all right, almost 1,900 submissions. So we have all of this data sitting in the server. It was submitted by data collectors, and they are done with their job. Now the data is sitting in the server like this. I mean, what do we do with this data? Now, that is when our next point comes in. That is the data cleaning and analytics. So you have to clean the data because possibly the data in the server may contain some errors. So you have to clean the data, look at certain. Hello, can you hear me?
We hear you.
All right.
Yes, Danso.
Yeah, proceed,
so,
proceed.
So we are on data cleaning, and we are saying that after collecting data, it's possible there are errors in the data because data collectors may have made some mistakes. Some mistakes I have realized from experience is that sometimes you have option A, option B, option C, and then you have last option, which is other. Now, if the response the data collector has does not comply with any of the first three, the data collector should choose other and then type in something specifically. Now, there have been cases where data collector will choose other to type in something that already exists as an option. That's something anyway. So, data collectors don't perform equally. You have some of them doing some mistakes, and then you may have to go back to the data to correct all of that. And there are countless tools, if I should say, that could be used for data cleaning. I've listed some here. We have Excel, you have Power BI, and then you could use R programming, I mean. You could use any of these three for data cleaning and data analytics. Now, personally, I've used Excel for data cleaning and then R as well. Things you should be looking out for when you're doing data cleaning, aside, you should also be looking at duplicates. Well, but duplicates is not a big issue in ODK because every single submission is appended with a unique ID. And so it's not possible you're going to have duplicate values or duplicate records in your database. That's not possible, but it's possible you're going to have missing values. Now, what happens? Maybe you have 16 questions for the data collector, and then data collector submits some responses where you don't have 16 responses for all the questions. You have, let's say, 15 or 14. And then some of them are actually required. You need that information, but you don't have it in some of the records. What do you do? As an analytics person, you may have to delete that record. You may have to delete that record. That's what we usually do for missing value. So if you have 100 submissions in your database and you have some that are faulty and some missing values and making that record inconsistent or not complete, you may decide to delete them and then report on deleted records. You don't just delete without reporting. You need to report to the researchers that this was incomplete because of this and that reason. I had to delete this number of records. Yeah. And there could be outliers in the data. We've already heard of outliers. Outliers are totally different from the rest of the data. So let's assume we have a question. It says, how many minutes does it take you from your house to the health facility? And someone says 48 hours from my house to the health facility in the catchment area. I mean, that's too much. If the health facility is actually in the catchment area, I mean, close to the community, how could you take 48 hours to reach there? So it tells you that that figure is an outlier. And when you are looking through your data, you need to be looking at all these. There could be typos, errors as well, and other sorts of errors that you need to be on the lookout for when you are cleaning your data. Now, you can imagine you have this 1,800 and almost 1,900 records, and you have to clean data for each one of them. It's going to be a lot of work. And this is just small data. Yes. I mean, you could have about 1,000 submissions in a day. For some research projects, you could have 1,000 submissions in a day. And if you managing the data have to go back to clean about 10,000 records, my brother, that's a lot of work. And these are strategies you could do, you could use to control that. Now, what I know some ODK project managers do is that on a daily basis, based on submissions they receive on a day, they go back to sit back to the computer and then look through daily submissions and then make sure they clean the daily submissions before the next day starts. Because if you wait for the next day, you're going to have another set of records coming into the server. So you clean the data as and when they get to the server. So you could do that after the data collection for the day. Well, that could still be a lot of work if you have thousands of records pulling in a day. It could still be a lot of work. And that is why we have strong tools like R. Strong tools like R. I always recommend R for doing analytics and then data cleaning. R is a programming language, and you can automate data cleaning, you can automate analytics, and do almost everything with it because it's a programming language. Although, you know, learning R to some people is something, but I'll still recommend it because it could make your work far, far easier. Maybe the learning process could be, you know, a bit difficult for you if you've never learned programming. But once you know it, trust me, your work is the most easiest. All right. Now we go on to data visualization. And the same tools we used for data cleaning could be applied in data visualization. So Excel, which can be used to clean your data, can be used to visualize your data as well. And Power BI is also another great tool, which has inbuilt features for data cleaning and then data analysis. And again, we have R coming in for data visualization. Now, R has amazing tools like the R Shiny, which is used to build dashboards for research projects, the ggplot2, which is an R package for which is the ggplot2, which is an R package for visualizing data. So maybe I'd like to show you some data I visualized some time ago. Anyway, I did this with Excel, and you have to be a bit skillful with functions to be able to even visualize data, research data in Excel. Yeah, but if you're already good in Excel, then this won't be much of a challenge for you. I'll not be able to go through, the process of compiling all this data and all that, because we said that this is just an introductory phase of ODK. We just want to let you know what can be done with ODK, just what can be done with ODK, but not to go into the technical details. So don't worry if I'm able to dive so deep into any of these concepts, Excel, Power BI, or R. All those are reserved for future sessions. Yeah. All right. So in that case, I'll leave the next 3 slides for my co-trainer Riziki to take over.
Okay, right. Thank you, Clement. Let me just reshare the screen on this side. Let me know if you can still see my screen. Great. Hello, Athumani, can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you also see my screen where there is? Okay, great. So I think Danso has went through here. So right, I think Danso has touched a little bit on visualization and also wanted to touch a little bit more at some point. So again, I'm emphasizing Excel is a very, very powerful tool as well for visualizing. I just wanted to share something here as well that I was able to do with Excel. Just share my entire screen. So can you see this? Can you see my screen? Right. Man, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
I think this is Danso's screen. I'm not sure if it is yours.
No, it's supposed.
Which page are you?
IT expenditure dashboard.
No.
IT
Danso
expenditure.
can. Okay. Now it's coming. Yeah, you can see it now.
Can you see IT expenditure dashboard? No.
Yes, the Excel. Yes.
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 Written IT expenditure. You can see it.
Yes, to see.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Right. So in visualization, like you could start with Excel because most of us are familiar with Excel. And so what you can do with Excel, usually you'll have a set of your data sets like this, and then you just put them on a table. You have to create a table. So with Excel, usually you can deal with data like in just column and rows, but when you want it to be more powerful, so you have to let Excel knows that this is a table. So you have first to create a table like this. So today, as we say, we won't go so deep, but just let me just explain what I mean. So say you have this simple table. John is 35 and Danso is 27, maybe. I'm not sure. So usually you can deal in Excel, you can deal with data just like this in rows and columns, or sometimes you can convert this into a table and then start doing analysis with it. And when you want to create Excel visualization, that is what you do. So you ideally just click Control T, which it will highlight it. And then from here, you'll just confirm, yes, I want this to be my table and my table as headers. Now I've just created an Excel table. So with an Excel table, you could do a lot of things. From here, you can do, you can create your Excel pivot tables and pivot charts. So what you're seeing here, these are called pivot charts, right? These are called pivot charts, and from this data, which is ideally, it's a table. It's a big table which have used pivot charts to present whatever is from this this data here. And you can create what we call slicers that are helping you to filter different data. For instance, here we have different different areas of IT. So there is business support, there is functional, and this was just to put it into context. This was actual versus budget versus plan. So it was an expenditure dashboard, and we're trying to see which maybe department has gone above the expenditure, which has gone below the expenditure, the plan versus the forecast versus the actual. So you'll see if you're using these slicers, they are more of your filters. And when you click around them, you'll see your data will also be interactive. So I don't know if some of you have seen Excel is quite interactive as well. You can click, you can use the slicers to do different interactivities, and you can see they change. If you want to just see for month, here we have a slicer for month, which is a filter for month. We have for departments, and then for regions. So if I just want to see for January, functional. So I click this, and you have to click here, January. This is for multi-select or single select. So if I click January, so I just have January functional, right? I want to see February, right? I want to see March. Everything changes. So Excel, just wanted to mention that Excel is quite powerful for visualization. We'll also do a training on this, how you can create a dashboard like this. It's quite easy. It doesn't need to know a lot. I think the biggest trick is to actually just start with a table. Once you have a table, then you can do your dashboards, and then you can use it maybe in a management meeting where you are presenting something. And the good thing with visualization, we say visualization, they help us grasp and remember the key takeaways. So quickly you will be able to see, maybe we were down by we were down by 2 million, or we are up by 2%, or 9%. So you are able to quickly, depending on what you're presenting, quickly grasp those key takeaways from your data. But also another tool is that is very good. It's Power BI. Power BI is also very powerful. When you, after learning Excel, if you can be able to do this, and this is very simple, then also with Power BI, it will be more easier for you, because the concepts are quite very similar. However, Power BI, it's quite strong than Excel, because now with Power BI, it's more interactive. You just don't use the slicers. So you see, if I click this, nothing happens. I have to use the slicers for me to see different, the number reflects. But with Power BI, you can click anywhere in your visualization, and you'll see it responding. So if I want to see for July, I can click, and every dashboard within it changes. So if I want to see January, I click January, and everything responds to what it's there. And then when I click it again, it now remove the filter. So whatever you click on a Power BI, it just go and pick that data set and reflect it for the rest of the dashboards. So if I wanted, like I said, if I wanted to see for January, then if it's like these are budget also for labor, shared services, they will reflect just for January. If you click May, then they reflect just for May. And then if you hover your screen, if you hover your mouse on a touch point, data point, they also bring you a label that you can see. So the learning curve of Excel is quite easy than Power BI, but we're not saying that Power BI is hard. Power BI is also quite easy, but you need, for you to be very good at it, there'll be some what we call DAX, which are simple scripts that you'll need to learn so as to have more powerful visualizations. But you can do a lot of things here. You can have maps. You can do visualization for maps. I can click on a map and it will visualize. I can click on a specific bar and it will just tell you this was just for New Zealand, right? As you see, if you click Europe, it will just come for Europe. Okay, so it's a quite powerful tool when you want to do visualization, Power BI. So I really recommend these two, Excel and Power BI, and of course Tableau. So Tableau is so much similar like Power BI. I would say these two are competitors in the market. Excel is the basic one. You can start with Excel. It's quite easy. I've shown you how powerful Excel is. If you can be able to do something like this, I think it will be very easy even in your meetings. For instance, if you want to do a presentation, this will be, you just click and everything changes according to what you're presenting. So another thing I think which is worth talking about today, for my side, it will be reporting and storytelling, which is our last session. So reporting is quite important. Someone had asked, how do you do those PPTs? And so I think there are many tools to do presentations. For instance, like PowerPoint, right? Or different tools like Canva. For instance, this presentation I'm using here, I'm using what we call Canva, canva.com. You can create posters, you can create brochures, you can create reports, you can create presentations like this. So they are quite different tools, and we'll be sharing some of those tools, like what we're already doing here. But the key point is to be able to know what you want to communicate and how we communicate, because things like PPT, they don't need to have a lot of words. They need just few pictures. Like if I say I put a picture of a report here, this one, and I just say reports, even if I didn't put the word report, you already see something is happening in your mind, right? And when I put maybe some an icon of PPT, if you're aware with PPT already, you can know this guy is talking about slides, right? So you just need the simplicity is key, of course. That's how you get like the very good presentations. Now, reports have different formats, and we'll be sharing those in future trainings. But also, it's important to mention on data storytelling, because it's as we said, it's hard for just the dashboards only to tell the story. Yes, you can see this, but what is it? What's the story? What is it saying? It's just dashboard. You always be here supposed to click and talk, but there's another powerful way to really communicate, because at the end of the day, like when we start, we remember we started with the why. We want to make informed decisions at the end of the day, right? You have your data, yes. If you can't use it, if you can use it to communicate, then it's not helping you. But if you can really break it down and put it in a simple way, use graph with narrative, compelling narrative, then that is something which can connect to people, because we are saying that data storytelling, it combines the visualization with compelling narrative, and it has to help your audience to better understand or comprehend whatever you're trying to communicate, so that they can take action. They can take action into that data. For instance, and yes, and we are saying that numbers are not meaningful enough to us. So you have to put something, you have to put it in a way that it can connect to you, it can touch you, right? So for instance, here I've kept a picture which is an example of data storytelling. Here it says how we can respond to increasing interest in online education opportunities. Like this is what we're doing here. It's an online education, right? And so there is this graph which was captured, and you will see there are almost 3 different lines. There's a green line, there's a red line, and there's a blue line, and it shows whenever there's spike, there is a narrative which interpret or which speaks like what happens here. So for instance, the green one says lockdown sparked interest in virtual field trips. So when there was lockdown, people wanted to use online tools more. And then we see and then there's another blue line here with blue narrative say back to school caused rise in visual classrooms. So the green line goes down, that means lockdown is going down, and then lockdown is going down, which means people are back to school, right? And then we see, yes, the lockdown is going down, but now, and then people are back to school. But at the end of the day, we see now, what is the conclusion? We see that the virtual learning, it says here, the virtual, while the novelty has worn off, virtual learning remains much higher than it was before. So you see, when we started, the red line was very low, but now the red line is up. So it tells you something that, okay, right now, like the use of Zoom, before COVID, tools like Zoom weren't used so much. And now, yes, we still have COVID and whatnot. In different countries, people are back to school, are back to offices. If you compare what we had before and now, it's different. Now people are more accepting to use online tools and things like that. So all we are saying is that you have to present your data with addition of narratives so as to really help people understand what you're trying to say. So you have to really put it in a way that you're combining your visuals and some of the narrative. So I think we'll have a few questions for the overall session, and then please stay tuned for what next. We're just going to be talking something we thought we should share with you about some financial benefits that's according to our experience, myself and Danso, for learning tools like ODK. And as I said, here there's a lot of things that we've touched base, right? We've talked about data collection, we've talked about data cleaning, analytics, visualization, reporting. And these things are quite important to many of us here. But there are things, as Danso was saying, some things you don't need to know analysis to do them, like ODK. You don't need to know analysis to start learning ODK. You can learn them simultaneously. Or if you just don't want, you just want to know ODK as it is, like the data collection tools, it's okay. Because when you look at this line, there is almost a specialist in each number here, each number. Like there are people who are just good with data cleaning. There are people who are more good in data analytics. So you don't have, as we say, you don't have to be expert in all of them. It's good to know all of them, but you don't have to be the expert in all of them. So you can learn them slowly, time by time, but you can choose to where you want to start according to your interest. So without further ado, let me just welcome few quick comments, and then we will close with that our story, our quick interest or quick experience in what we've seen with ODK, some of the jobs that we've done in ODK, some of the opportunities that we've seen in ODK, and how we think maybe that can also be beneficial to you. Athumani, do we have questions? Just looking at the questions, or you can even unmute your mic and look.
Okay, thank you. So far, the question was from Jermaine William. I already answered them. Is there another question?
Right, anyone wants to unmute their mic, contribute something, a comment, question, you can also unmute your mic instead of typing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you may raise your hand, then I will allow you to continue. Dr. Mwaisoba, welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm very much interested with the presentation of today, and I'm looking forward for those topics because I'm eager to learn more.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So that's good, and we're here for that. Guys, let us know if you have any other comment, suggestion, and then we'll just close it with the last slide. So we save how do you say it? We save the last one, which is the best slide. So you guys have to stay for a few more minutes, and then we'll close.
Yeah, we have a hand from Jermaine. Welcome, Jermaine William.
Hello, good day. Thank you. This session was very informative, clear, and interesting. I just wanted some clarity in terms of the other trainings related to data, if there will be other trainings, and what is the order of those trainings and when those trainings or sessions will be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing a calendar for tentative weeks and month where we'll be doing these different trainings as we have illustrated them on that line. So we'll share them through email, and you guys, you'll be able to see them when training will be out and how much it will cost. But our future, our nearest training from now, it will be the ODK training, where we want this time to go up to the setting up of the ODK server on the ODK platform. So in the past, we've actually just do it through the KoBoToolbox, but this time we want to learn also to do it through the Kobo server, as Clement has mentioned that sometimes you have a very serious project and your client doesn't want to their data to be on a server which they don't have. They don't know who actually owns it. Yes, you can say it's Kobo, a lot of companies they are using, but other clients are just so sensitive and they won't want that. So you need to learn how to actually set up a server, a new server for the client, which is just specifically for the client. Or even the client give you their server and then you set up your data at their server so that they have that peace of mind. So so that will be the next training. But yes, we'll be sharing emails on the year calendar of different trainings. And we do have, as I said in the beginning, not just in the data theme, we have also in the finance theme. We'll be talking about personal finance, things around business planning, financial projections. We'll also be bringing people who are out there in the world of you know, other financial industries like the trading crypto, just to let us understanding what is happening in that other world, for people who will be interested. So we'll actually share the calendar on to your emails. So we have a question from Obas. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I just want to say thank you for the discussion. It went well. Actually, I've understood about this data collection. It went well for me, and I thank you everyone for participating here. My main question is that you've discussed about data collection, right? But my main cue is that we have some sort of this what's called data warehouse. Have you ever heard of it? Because well, there's been a certain issue that many big tech companies, they're kind of shifting into into data warehousing because they say it's much more protective. In fact, it records a lot of data more than normal data analysis collection. So can you please be able to be in touch with that so that we can be able to understand the main process and the procedures of this? Is it possible?
But maybe I can just clarify from your question that
Okay.
a data warehouse is specifically, you can say it's a physical place, yes, where there are computers and servers where data is stored. For instance, the .co.tz, we have the servers which are hosted here in Tanzania. So there is a physical place where that data is stored. That is what we call the data warehouses. So it's just a physical location where everything is stored. Like how we say this Zoom call is running. So obviously somewhere in US there is a server where all this information about username and what and all this is stored. So that's physical location there. It's a data warehouse. So it's just describing the physical location in my understanding. So when we say we want to host say ODK questionnaire, ODK projects on the client server, so we don't necessarily means that maybe the client has to have a physical data warehouse, but the client may be subscribing to a company which owns a physical data warehouse. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, that's clear. That's clear. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So Clement, are you there? I think we can go to our last exciting slide where we would like, maybe you can start on your side. Let me know if you are here and if you can hear me. Danso. Danso, Clement, can you hear me? Yeah, and in the meantime also, Athumani, please do share again the WhatsApp group so that you guys can join our WhatsApp group. We post a lot of communications there. There's a question which we haven't answered. Question 13. Can you copy paste it? How can I know question 13?
That is sort of Geoffrey. It is his comment about what needed the next time for the sessions. I think he provided some questions to be answered in the next sessions. I think it is just like a comment. It's sort, is it?
Yes,
because,
hi everyone.
Hi, welcome. So,
yeah, thank you for the next session, a very good session. It is well organized. I've been learning a lot of things. So what I want to say, I think Athumani, for the next session, some of participants, we need to address important issues like what I've tested, so that to be more knowledgeable in the area of data.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that is my comment.
Thank you. Very useful comment. We take it.
Right. So great. So this is the last slide of the of the presentation. So as I said, you may want to learn all the things that we have said here, but again, remember you have to learn one by one, and some of the things that we think that is quick, that you can pick it up, even though you don't have a lot of maybe analytic skills or report writing skills or presentation skills. It's actually the first skill that you may need to know and understand, which is data collection. How do you collect data for researchers? Today, we don't go with paper to the field. Today, we go with mobile phones, right? And some data are already being collected automatically through different systems. So we just wanted to share our experience on what it means when you fully understand ODK platform. Myself, I've worked on different projects on ODK and another different platform for mobile data collection, same as Clement Danso. So Clement, let me welcome you and just share some experiences that you have personally regarding working with ODK projects. So at least we can give you a perspective of what will be the benefit of you being able to work with ODK and different other mobile data collection. Yeah. Welcome, Danso. Can you hear me? Right. Okay. So, Danso, while you're preparing, I think you're not able to maybe to unmute your mic or internet connection. So let me just share my experience, and then Danso will share. So I've worked with maybe at least maybe 5 or 6 different clients on ODK, which were paid, because sometimes I will just do to help different colleagues. But really, with ODK, as much as it seems it's maybe it's just a simple skill, it can be, you can use it as a side income. When you learn and understand ODK, a minimum pay, and that is in an African country, is around 500 USD. If you are in different countries, because this rates differ sometimes, you can be able to negotiate to go up to plus 5,000 USD, and depends with how big the project is, right? So imagine if you are able to spare some time on a weekend and work on a project where you get 500 minimum of 2,000 USD. It's something which is worthwhile, like trying, because it then becomes as part of your side income. And this is something that we thought maybe we should share, because most people really, especially for instance in Tanzania, most people really don't understand how important is it to know things like this. And there aren't many experts in this field, and it's a field that everyday research are being done. It's a field that is quite significant and relevant. So you always need to be able to learn new things so as to remain relevant. So I don't know if Clement, you're still there. Maybe you can also share your experience. Let me know by unmuting your mic.
I think he's joining.
Is joining? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
joining. There is a question here, Assey, from Margaret.
Okay.
Mm.
What's the question?
The question is that given as a one-time lump sum, or there are follow-up contracts with the system?
Margaret, can you unmute your mic maybe and elaborate with?
Yes. I wanted to know if, like the way you said, 500 USD or 2000 USD, is it like a one-time job, a lump sum, or it's a process, like the system needs to be refurbished or anything? Is it a process that you'll be given let's say 500 USD per month every month, or it's just a one-time thing and you are done with the project?
Oh, so can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it depends with the project again. So for instance, sometimes you can be on a project which runs maybe for a month, and maybe you are given, say, 14 days or 20 days to support. So when usually on a project, you'll assess your time. Say how long time do you need? How much time do you need? So remember, you need time to design the questionnaires. You need time to train the people who will be going to the field. You'll need time to help them clean the data sometimes, but most of the time that isn't your work. You just need time to make sure that help the ones who will be responsible for looking at the data, which at the end maybe there's a project manager or field manager most of the time, helping them throughout. If they have any challenge, maybe I can't open my account. Small issues really. So most of the time, the big work is just on preparing the questionnaire, and depends on the length of the questionnaire, how many questionnaires you're given. Sometimes you're just given one questionnaire. Sometimes you're given 3 questionnaires. So depending on those, you can determine. So for instance, you can say maybe you demand maybe $300 per one day that you spend on a project. So that if you spend 14 days or 20 days, you just multiply that. Or you may negotiate for a lump sum, and a lump sum, if you want to negotiate for a lump sum, you have to go a little bit higher depending on how much time you use. So when I say 500, this is like something, a simple questionnaire, one questionnaire maybe, not so long questionnaire, quick questionnaire that you can actually work with it on a day, and you're just training the team one day, and then off you go. So this like ideally a minimum that you can start with when you know what you're doing. That means that when you're okay, you understand everything, and it's just something simple. But depending on, then you have to also look at the client. Who is the client? Because if you see this is a big client, there is also another skill. You need negotiation skills. If you look at the market rates, I've actually put this money below the market rate, because I just want for you guys to understand this. These are the minimum. These are like the minimum you can have on a project, because these are relevant skills that you can work with a project anywhere in the world. Danso himself is working with a company, an NGO, an organization in Canada, I think, which is the company which he mentioned there. So it's learning how to do data management. It's like an international language. You can interact with different people, different companies, different NGOs, just by knowing data management part. And when we say data management, we just mean where you can just supervise people collecting data and make sure that the data reaches the client, and your work is done from there. Analysis, cleaning, you leave it with the team, with the client's team, because obviously there will be another one to do that. Unless if you also know that, then you can also maybe be part of that team. But here we're just talking about a simple project, maybe a local company. If you are dealing with an international company, if you have good negotiation skills, you can even say, I want to be paid $500 for one day that I spend on this project. So, and then maybe the project requires you to spend 15 days or 20 days. So you do your math. I hope that's clear. I think Danso has some internet issues. I don't know if will be able to join this session. Danso, are you back? I'm not sure if he's back. But guys, please do ask questions. This is something that we thought it would be good to interest you, because it could be your side income, and there's different jobs out there for this. So it's just for you looking for these different jobs. They're in different platforms where you can find ODK jobs, but also your network. If you know anyone who is doing research, a doctor, a professor, say, or a company director in a consulting company, you can talk to them about this. And oftentimes you'll find that they need this skill, but they don't know who to ask. They need someone who can do this skill, and then you can do like consulting, just simple one-time job, and off you go. And sometimes you can be in a company where you're full-time, but mostly I prefer maybe short-term contracts, where you just help them for a period of time, and because you won't really be needed throughout, because you just help in the beginning, unless the project is so big. Any comments? I mean, raise your hand and mute your mic, ask a question, and you can ask a question about ODK, you can ask a question about anything in this session as we are winding up. The next session will be on ODK. Yes, we plan it to be 30th of this month. We will confirm through email the dates. We'll confirm the dates and also send you the contents through email, through our WhatsApp group. So please do join our WhatsApp group. Athumani, please do share the link for the WhatsApp group on the chat once again for people to just quickly join. You can share it on the chat area. Please do reshare it on the chat area. The link for the WhatsApp link over and over again. Yeah, so that you guys can. And another thing worth mentioning is, if you ever get a client and you're not so sure, remember you have people who have been in the industry, myself and Danso. We are here to help you. We can help you even if you're not so confident, so we can be there to help you. So don't be afraid to take projects after you learn ODK. If you haven't understood maybe the server part, so you just reach out to you can reach out through the contact that we've shared if you want something, anything, but also you can reach out through these LinkedIn profiles, through emails, whatever you want to. So and also we'll be sharing this screen, this slide, so you'll have it for free. Don't worry. So you can copy any link, anything. All right. Any more questions?
I think you have hand raised from Alfred.
Okay, yeah, please do go on, Alfred.
Hello, Assey, how are you?
Great, I'm doing great, Alfred. Welcome.
Okay. So I have a problem. Actually, I signed up using my email, but unfortunately, I didn't get any notification. So my worry is I will not able to access even your slides if you will be sharing using the email which was mentioned. So I don't know.
Can you join the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I have already joined the WhatsApp group.
Great. So
if
no
you'll be
worries.
sharing using groups, it will be fine.
Yes, we'll be sharing through WhatsApp group and through emails as well. So if you are in one of those databases, and I think and you are in our database, I believe. So we'll share through the email and the WhatsApp group as well.
Okay, thank you, Assey.
Right. Thank you.
Assey, while we are waiting for another comment, maybe I can provide some announcements.
Okay.
First of all, we expect next sessions to be data 360, finance 360, and the project 360. Data 360 will be on January 30 and every last week of the month. And the finance 360 will be in the mid of February. We announce the date. And the project 360 will be we'll start mid of March. We'll announce the date. For all other next year technical training sessions, we will provide certificates and the continual assistance to all participants. Yeah, that is what to expect. Thank you.
Right. Clement, are you in? Are you still in, Clement? So we were hoping we could also share your experience. However, we are almost out of time, but if you can say something also on your side, how the experience has been with you, you're welcome. And then we'll close it. Danso? Okay. I think he's still not able to join. So guys, I think those were the announcements. Please just join our WhatsApp group. We got you. We'll be sharing notification there. We thank you for your time to join us today. We thank you that we've been able to make it till the end. So thank you very much, everyone. And before you leave, we always have one culture, which is to just say hi to the camera. If you're comfortable, say hi to the camera and have a picture, a group picture to everyone who has participated. If you can just open up your video and take a group picture for the people who have participated in this training. That is one of our culture, just to say hi, put a face on the names, So that is one thing that we usually do. And so yeah, you guys do open your screens. Let's take a group picture. Athumani, are you there? However, we really say thank you for everyone who has joined until now. We have 35 participants to the end. That is great. And we do have lots of people here. So I don't know if you guys can see and say hi. You can open up your camera if you want to, feel comfortable and take a group picture. I see a lot of people. So good. So Athumani, do you want to take the honor of taking the group picture? Just make it gallery view. So I see we have a lot of people. We have Godfrey, we have Margaret is back. Good to see you. Jeremiah. Lots of people. Hi guys. So, and apologies. For today I said I would put on my camera at the beginning of the training, and then I forgot. So I remember at the end of the training. So, but it's very good to have you guys here attending these sessions. Really means a lot. What we want to do is give a lot of value to you guys. We hope you're enjoying. Please let's Athumani, I can see you. Alfred, I see you. Pasco, I see you. Dr. Paul, I can see you. Idris, I can see you. Right. Obas, I can't see you. Others, I see pictures. But it's really amazing you guys are here. So let's take picture number one. So I count 1, 2, 3, and then you smile. Everyone smiles. So 1, 2, 3. So smile. Okay, let's see how that one went. That one is, oh, my face was covered with light. Let's do this then. Yes, so another one, 1, 2, 3, smile. Yeah, thank you guys. This is very good. Thank you. I don't know if anyone wants to, has any further comments, questions on a camera, you want to say something to anything, you can just unmute your mic. Actually, Margaret, your hand is still up. Do you still want to say something? Okay,
yeah,
please.
I wanted to ask something. Yeah, I wanted to know, I've been hearing data 360, financial 360. What is this 360? Is it like name of your company, name of your project, or it's also a technical word in IT or stuff?
Okay, so 360 actually it's just a theme to mean that we want to do an overview. A 360. So when you think of a 360, is 360 degree is like a cycle, right? So we want to have a comprehensive learning around that topic. So we want to have a comprehensive learning on data. We want to have a comprehensive learning on finance, and we'll be having finance people joining, and part of that calendar will be talking about the all type of trainings that will be there. So it's just a theme to express that it'll be a comprehensive set of training over the year. So maybe with data, we start with data collection, and then we'll move to data analysis, and then we'll move to visualization. We'll be teaching you guys tools like Power BI, visualization, Excel visualization. And it won't really just be me and Danso. We'll be having different trainers. And if actually you're part of this network here, you're here today and you're actually a trainer, you're a practitioner, in one of the things that we do, we commend you to reach out to us. Please come and join the network of the trainers network. We believe in practitioners to teach. So if you do that thing every day, it's part of what you do at your work. We believe that you can really teach it very well, than just maybe someone go learning through book or a teacher maybe. So sometimes there are practitioner teachers, there are teachers who don't practice, and they're just practitioners. So we believe a practitioner can really teach anything. So that's what we really believe, and we hope you guys will really enjoy our trainings this year. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, right. Karibu sana, welcome. Athumani, anyone else? I think Danso, we haven't seen Danso, have we? Danso has been having network issues, so unfortunately he is not able to join in the group photo, but we thank every one of you. If there's no any other question, I think I will hand it over to Athumani to close it. And then I will end there. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Assey. Thank you, Danso. It was very nice and informative session. And let's, on behalf of MORLEARN and the Disappoint, much thank you to you all participants for joining us in this session. This, as we said, it is an introductive part of Data 360, all about what we expect to provide to you this year. And we'll add some topics as per your suggestions and recommendations. We expect to provide the announcement through your emails and the WhatsApp group. So we'll announce everything through WhatsApp and email. Yeah, thank you very much. We really appreciate your time and your presence here. For anything, you can contact me or say or Danso, but it is be more useful if you use our WhatsApp group. Thank you very much. Goodbye, and I wish you all the best. You can unmute your mic and say goodbye, thanks, then we go off.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
guys.
you.
Goodbye. Thank you. See you on the next training.
Good night, everyone.
See you on the next training. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anie, Flora.
Show some love on the comments. We love comments.
Thank you, Obas.
We love comments. We do love comments. So we can show some love in the comment. Thank you for the 100. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Really receiving a lot of love from the comments. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. This is good. Lots of love from the comments. Thank you. Thank you, Shinafi. Thank you, Obas. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Bless every one of you. Your best.
Hey, sorry, Assey, are we still on?
Yeah, we're just saying goodbye. People are leaving the room slowly, slowly. I think the door is stuck.
Okay. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alfred.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. Obas, thank you a lot. Looking forward having you in the next sessions as a facilitator. Montha, thank you very much. Idris, thank you. Kasmil, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Dr. Moesobwa, thank you. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much for attending. Yeah. So I'll be dropping as well. Thank you, everyone. I love saying thank you. Great. Fantastic. I think Athumani, we can end the recording from now. Athumani, let's end the recording. Athumani.
Yes, I say.
The recording. Please do end the recording.
Okay.